Okay. We're almost there, team.
Yep.
Practically professional. Wow.
Hey, welcome to the new meta, episode 101.
101. Flawless as ever.
Yep, smooth as butter. We got a special guest this week.
Yeah.
Wudijo is joining us. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, sure. Hello,
Especially
everyone.
since it's 4 a.m. your time. We
4
appreciate that.
a.m. I know. He's just like, you know what? I'm not even going to sleep. I'm going to stay up for these guys.
I just finished my own 11-hour stream, and now we're here. So
Nice.
So if he crashes in the middle of the
fresh,
stream,
yeah.
he's okay. He's just sleepy. It's all right.
yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, man, welcome to the new meta. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us. We were planning this to have you come on after the PTR, but since the PTR got delayed, unfortunately, it's before, so we don't get to see the final result of that first round of PTR. But we can get into it.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate.
Yeah.
I was also, it was like I was feeling it in fingers. I want to play the Demon Hunter, but
I know. They've been so good.
You want to hit the polls for last week, or you want to save it for
we
next
always
week?
ask a weekly poll, and last week we asked the following. Let me turn that up. Season 21's theme: love it or hate it. So let me just stick this out to you first, Joe. What do you think about the season 21 theme?
it's really hard to say without actually seeing it in action. Like it really reminds like probably everyone about season 19, where we had like the angels killing a boss and the meteor shower destroying 5 packs, and I assume it's not going to be like that. It's going to be probably a bit tuned down, but yeah, I don't know. Like it sounds a bit like there's only going to be like an effect every 2 minutes, which sounds a bit boring, and you can't really influence it very much. So it could be that you just like spend a lot of time actually playing around this effect and making a poll for 2 minutes, and then you go boom and do like a whole map in one go or something. But I assume it's probably going to be less than that. So we'll see. It might be just like a little bonus that goes on for a little while, and that's it. So I don't know. We have to see.
Do you think there would be like a way to predict, or do you think it'd be completely RNG?
I don't know. Maybe you get like a little icon and it tells you what's coming next. Maybe. So maybe it cycles through. I don't know. It could be anything.
Yeah, I was wondering if it cycles or if it's all of them. Yeah.
So it could be that, and
if it cycles through them, I think it's going to be even worse, because then you're hoping to get the groups stacked up before you get the one that's the most OP.
Exactly. You're going to be like on this 2-minute timer, and if you don't get the right pull in this first 2 minutes, you just leave.
Yeah. So
more fishiness, which is great.
I hope it's all of them at the same time, but I don't know, man. We'll see.
Pretty strong.
All right, so what are you going to vote on that, Fluff? Love it or hate it?
I mean, I didn't really like the kill streak season, so this seems like more of that. So I'm going to say hate it.
I agree.
What do you think won?
I think I will really like the season theme, actually. Like season 19 was super fun for me. And I think season 21 is also going to be super fun because of this theme as well. We'll see. At least it changes the gameplay a bit, and this is what I really like about season themes. Because like the season 20 theme, it changed the builds a little bit, but in the end, it's kind of the same. You're just a little bit stronger or something. But with season 19 and season 21, probably, I guess you actually like play differently. So this is what I enjoy, like new strategies and so on.
So what was your favorite seasonal theme of all?
I mean, there haven't really been that many that really did a lot, so I guess it would be season 19 in that case. So
okay,
yeah.
Hold on. Well, I'm gonna say hate it, and that seems to be the popular-ish vote, but it's pretty split. 58% say hate it, 42% say love it.
Polls have been super split lately.
Really?
We haven't had any landslides the last couple of weeks, so it's interesting.
And the poll for next week is a good one. Will PTR actually hit this week, or will it get delayed another week?
Well,
One, of course, option 2, no way.
That would be a disaster, I think.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate that it got delayed at all. Not only because obviously we all really want to play PTR, but the further it gets delayed, the closer the PoE League and the Diablo League are going to line up yet again.
Yes,
Man, it's so frustrating.
That's actually an issue. Yeah, I would also really like to play both, and kind of decide which one I want to focus more on. But actually, both at the same day is terrible. So I hope they will change that. And I mean, it should probably be changed, but yeah, with more delay, it's more likely. So that's the issue.
Yeah, brutal. But last week we went over the patch notes. Actually, you know what? Let's get into you first, wudijo. Let's get to know wudijo. So, first of all, what got you into Diablo?
What got me into Diablo? I mean, it was a long, like Diablo 2, I guess. That was a long time ago when I was in I don't know, 5th grade or so. I was just playing it with my friends.
Boomers.
You feel old right now, don't you? Right now,
So I know I played Diablo 2 a bit, but this was like mostly offline, or actually entirely offline, and mostly with my friends then on LAN parties and a little bit single player. I had like one clear of hell difficulty of an assassin. I fought Baal for 3 hours, like the whole afternoon until he died. So that was like my first experience of Diablo. And then in Diablo 3, I don't know, it just came out and it was like a game that I was really excited for because of my history of Diablo, I guess. But also just in general Blizzard games because I was playing a lot of WoW. So yeah, that
another WoW player? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Right.
I played WoW since vanilla essentially, and with breaks, and I also skipped like an expansion or two. But yeah, I've played it here and there, everywhere there. So
Do you have any interest in the Shadowlands or?
yeah, Shadowlands looks good. So I'm excited to play it a bit, and we see where it goes. I really like Mythic Plus these days. So the 5-man content is pretty good, and
Yeah, I agree.
I like doing that with my friends, and my brother is also playing on expansion release and so on. So it's also some nice time you can share.
So that got you into Diablo. What made you decide to start streaming Diablo?
That was actually also my brother who pushed me. That was during the first patch of RS 2.0, and I was playing my Torment 6 solo Demon Hunter stuff. I don't know, like I have no clue about anything. I had no clue about community, about builds, about nothing. I was just blasting Torment 6 rifts, and that was really good at the time. There was almost no one who could actually clear Torment 6 solo. And he was like, nah, this is pretty nice, so go ahead and try it. Yeah, this is how I started. I was like streaming random runs until like season 1 started, and then I had like my first like big success, I guess, with my tier 45 rank 1. And this is
Yeah, those days were crazy, weren't they?
with ball lightning. Yes, this is where it all like essentially got like a big boost and kind of like started the whole thing that has been going on for the last, I don't know, 6 years now. So yeah.
So what was the skill that got you rank 1 with 45?
Yeah, that was ball lightning, elemental arrow.
Ball lightning. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There was a new build that was like it was the normal build was cluster arrow and multi shot. It was like this auto firing sentries, and this was ball lightning. It was also auto sentries of marauders, but it relied on being permanently invulnerable with smoke screen, which also got nerfed later on because of that. But yeah, it was pretty cool. It was like a new build, and that's also why it got so much attention. Not just the highest tier, but also the new build, and it was the strongest build in the end. And yeah, that came from that.
Nice.
It was pretty cool.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So
Season 1.
what keeps you playing Diablo 3 to this day?
Yeah, it's a variety of factors, I'd say. So it's like my friends like that I made in Diablo over time and that keep coming back. It's the new builds that I want to try. It's the new patches and so on. So, and also of course the stream. I mean, I like streaming. It's really enjoyable, and I can also earn a bit from this. So this helps, I guess. And yeah, it's just the combination of everything kind of makes it like a nice experience. And if there's like nothing new, I don't really enjoy Diablo very much. Like, there are also seasons where I didn't really play much. I played like 30 hours, 20 hours, or 50 hours or so. So just like a weekend.
20 hours and got rank 1 that season.
No, but, like the first weekend and that's it. So something like that. Like not every season is like like a 300 hours blast for like 2 months or something. So yeah. So if the season is good, I like playing it a lot, and if it's not good, then I don't really do it that much. So
Right.
So what are your fallback? What's your go-to when you start to burn out on Diablo a little bit? Do you have a second favorite, or is it just a lot of things?
Well, I guess it would be PoE. So I like the last 2 years or so. Like I started PoE rather late in like patch 3.9, which is like no, not 3.9. I don't know, 3.6. I don't know. It's a while ago, like two years or something. And this is like something I played for quite a bit. Then like some other random games, like WoW here and there. I played WoW Classic the last few months, but I stopped now. And yeah, I don't know, maybe Hearthstone, but it's also like like a year ago when I really played it the last time, really. So yeah. Some random stuff like this essentially, and some small games maybe. So
what was your favorite league?
Favorite league in PoE? Oh, that was probably Synthesis, I'd say. I really liked Synthesis.
Me too. I think we're the only two guys that like Synthesis.
Yeah, I don't know. Synthesis was really awesome, and I liked the building the paths and so on. It was really buggy and kind of like frustrating here and there, but a lot of good things as well. So, yeah.
Nice. So what are your thoughts on kind of the current state of Diablo 3, and what would you like to see happen over just like the last of its lifespan?
Yeah, I mean, the current state of the game is right now is actually going in a good direction, I'd say, for what it is right now. So we know that Diablo 4 is coming. There's not much happening on Diablo 3 and so on. But especially in the last few seasons, I think that Blizzard was doing a pretty good job on what they could do with the game. Obviously, everyone kind of wants more and more balance, and you could do so many more things essentially if you wanted. But just like actually making interesting seasons, even though it's not all perfect, is actually, that's actually happening right now. That's pretty good. If they keep going with this, like interesting season themes, some tweaks, some numbers, and kind of making builds viable, you could keep Diablo 3 interesting for a while, I think, until Diablo 4 comes out. So that'd be nice. So I think right now they're doing a good job.
I agree.
Yeah. Yep. I do too. I think that they had two choices. They could either sat on the game and did nothing with it until Diablo 4, which I think we started to see that with, was it season 12? That was extended for 12, 13, 14, 15, whatever.
Yes.
And or they could take a risk. And it was like a year of really no update at all. Or they could take a risk. And I think some of the risks backfired a little bit, but at least they tried. I'm happy they tried. And I hope they continue to.
Yeah, the thing is, like, if the meta stays the same, like even after one season, the players will drop out, like big time. You just need to change the meta. You should change something about the game. Some small tweaks, and this will already make people come back. So if everything stays the same, people are, even if the meta is even everyone's playing the most awesome builds and it's the funnest stuff ever, after 2 or 3 seasons, it's gonna become stale and no one wants it anymore. It's just how it is.
Right.
So as long as they just tweak some numbers, nerf something into the ground, I don't care, buff some other stuff, do super crazy levels. That's just how it goes in Diablo. But as long as things are changing, it's fine. So
where do you think Diablo went wrong? Where do you think D3 went wrong? And
its development.
I mean, it's it's like a love and a hate story, I guess, right? So there's a lot of things that are really good about the game. There's a lot of things that are terrible. I guess the balancing is like one of the big issues. Also, like kind of like the lack of kind of like new endgame activities. Like just you have the rifts and you have the greater rifts, and then these days you're not even farming ubers anymore, which is kind of like this seasonal ritual that I used to do as a demon hunter. Like this 10-hour uber session and then craft 1,000 amulets. I really loved that. It was kind of it was a grind, but it was something to do in the season, right? Something different than the same old stuff. And then it's kind of like it's usually like a chill stream, and I could like interact more because there's not much going on. But at the end, you're happy to do the crafting session that everyone's been waiting for. So I don't know. It's also fell out of the game now essentially. So they need like a little bit more. I would actually like to see Ubers, come back in some way, like with an update to Hellfires, an update to the fights themselves, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
There could be like another idea for a future season, I guess, but
that's the problem with like Diablo. Is like you can't just like scale the Ubers to do like more damage because they have like unavoidable mechanics. Like that just feels like really bad.
Right.
I mean, it could do it like, for example, in season 19 we had the the Diablo spawn at 1,000 kills, right? And this was like the super crazy, he one-shot you and so on. And he was like also really resistant. Like you couldn't just kill him. Like even Stricken was not working. I think if they do something like this for the Ubers, actually make him like tough fights, but not like super invincible, then that could be interesting. To actually bring back some kind of like other activity. But yeah,
sure.
They could spread some of the new loot in those guys too. I feel like, or even some of the legendary gems. Like example, like Legacy of Dreams gem came out.
Yeah, maybe.
What,
So they're actually doing
tie
like
it to an Uber, or something. I don't know how fun that would be if I think about like every season. Like, okay, now I have to go kill Ubers until I get XYZ item. That could potentially not be fun, but it would give you a reason to do it at least. Because I haven't done Uber in seasons.
Yeah, exactly, like same. So it's just like completely dead now because of like flavor and squirts and whatever we have. So no one is using Hellfires. It's like simply no reason.
Yeah. Since Necro come out, I haven't had to do it once, so it's garbage on the Necro.
Yeah.
But yeah, so speaking of, Diablo 3 in its current form, we got the patch notes, just a couple of weeks ago. And in that, we were talking about it last week. I'm obviously, pretty knowledgeable when it comes to Necromancer, but to really gauge what this means for the DH, like me and P have both played it a lot, but not like, and I don't know it inside and out like I would the Necro. So we really wanted to have you on. I mean, we wanted to have you on to give us feedback on what you thought so far, but of course that didn't happen. So going in and just looking at the new set, like what are your initial thoughts?
I really like the design of the set. So we have to see how exactly the two-piece works and so on. Like the wording is a little bit unclear, and you have to see the mechanics essentially. But overall, I think the design of the set is pretty good, and it allows for a lot of variety. And it allows for like different setups for like T16, for speed farming solo, for speed farming in groups, for pushing. So I can imagine different setups with even like different generators and so on for all of these. And it would always feel pretty good to play in all of these scenarios, the way I imagine it at least. I have like the T16 build where you just literally strafe around and everything dies around you and like whirlwind. So I think that's going to be quite fun to play. And then as you go higher in the difficulties and the tiers,
I'm loving your feedback. Fluff's hating it because I think it sounded awesome too. And Fluff hated it because it plays like whirlwind. So I'm glad that you agree.
I just think it's strange to have like another, like, why not just go play Barb if you want to play
Don't backpedal now, Fluff.
I'm not backpedaling.
I think it's going to be better than Whirlwinds. Maybe not for the tiers that you can reach in solo push, but overall, like the viability and so on, I think it's going to be pretty strong, actually, this set.
How do you envision the primaries getting shot out of the strafe? Do you imagine it like going everywhere crazy the whole time, or do you think it's going to be like 1 a second directed towards your mouse cursor? Like I'm nervous because
1 a second. This would be like a moving wizard, I guess. So I hope we don't get the Ed's digital treatment. So I think it's just going to be like every projectile. Like Strafe has like multiple projectiles, and all of those fly towards like some enemies that are around you, essentially. So if there's no enemies, it goes like in all directions. If there's enemies, it goes towards those. So
so you think it'll track?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So it should. I assume it's going to be the same behavior. It's just going to be, like this is going to be a bowler, or it's going to be a grenade, or whatever.
Yeah.
So
how did you read the two-piece of this? Does that make
two-piece,
any sense to you?
No. Okay, so the way I imagine the two-piece will work is that it probably starts at 2 seconds, and the duration stacks up to 10 seconds. So you do like 5 stacks, and then after that, it kind of refreshes at 10 seconds every time. And this is how I think it's going to work. So yeah,
like a tag up. Yeah. That's exactly how I imagined it too.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you have to keep refreshing it, and at least once every 10 seconds, which you have to do anyway because of the 4-piece bonus. So, and then you can probably like stack it up. So I think you're gonna have like this moment of stacking up the momentum where you're not strafing but you're attacking, and then you do the strafe to unleash everything. Like the big damage. So I think that's how it's gonna work. So.
I was nervous that this set's going to end up being strafe to keep the damage bonus up, and then stand still in primary to kill things.
Oh, so it would be exactly the other way around. So you get more stacks from strafing, and then you shoot the strong primaries. Well,
Yeah.
No, I think it will be exactly the other way around.
Yeah, I hope so. But yeah, the wording on that's not as clear as I would hope it would be.
Yeah.
The
thing is, on the two-piece, it says in the first line, actually, gain a momentum stack when attacking with a primary skill. And I believe that this will only happen when you manually use it. So this would make sense for like this kind of like playstyle. Like you have like this, like the more primaries you cast, the stronger your strength will be. Then you can do like this big nuke on convention, and then you reset the cycle essentially.
Yeah.
And then
every 10 seconds or so, you throw a primary in to keep your stacks. Is kind of how I looked at it. Do you think they think that one's not going to keep the 10 stacks up?
I think the stacks
stack
will drop.
Is going to have its own timer.
Yeah, I think it has its own timer. So it says also each momentum stacks lasts 2 seconds. So yeah, I don't know. Like it seems weird, but I think the duration is going to stack up to 10, and then you have kind of like the last 10 seconds of generator casts are your stacks. Kind of like that. So this is how I think it's going to work. So you stack it up. 10 seconds.
The way I read it is this: like you go into the GR, you shoot one primary, and then you just spin for like the rest of the round.
that would be terrible. Like, please no. Yeah. But I don't think that's gonna happen.
I read it. Wasn't there an old Barb set that you would whirlwind and then you had to keep rending or something where you'd stop whirlwind to keep a buff up?
Waste you'd have
the old waste one, and I kind of read it like that, where it's like you're gonna strafe, you're gonna get your 10 stacks with your primary, and then you're gonna strafe, and then before the 10 seconds drops, you have to stop, cast your primary, which then would reset the entire 10 seconds, and then you'd strafe again for 10 seconds, and then shoot, strafe, shoot, strafe, shoot. But I want to see this set so much. There's so many questions I have. Like, how does this work? Like,
we don't know, but I imagine like at least this would make the most sense to me. So you have like this stacking time, and then you have the nuke time, for a few seconds, and then you repeat. So
that would be an interesting play style for sure.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be super fun. Like if it works anything like that, I think it's gonna be amazing. So for every scenario.
So my main question for you as a DH expert is there any scenario that you would want to wear just the 6-piece gears, or would you just like immediately your brain goes to Natalia gears?
That's what I was going to say too. Are we going to have hybrid again?
No, this is not going to be a hybrid setup. There's no chance
of
that. No. Like 10,000% is close enough to Natalia. Natalia is 14,000. And you have to give up so much stuff to make N6 God 4. And there's no focus and restraint then. There's not even convention. Like there's no way that Natalia hybrid is going to work with this. At least not for a good setup. You can do it if you want, but I'm not going to approve. So good luck. Yeah.
What do you think about any of these item changes? Because I didn't really try to mix it in, but do you think any of these item changes made a difference for Natalia's as well? That Natalia's will be does it change that whatsoever? Or is Natalia's still going to be pretty low on the list?
Yeah, Natalia's is not going to get anything on. Like all of these item changes are generator changes, which work with the new set. There's actually some potential for Unhurt Essence, but not for Natalia's. Like Unhurt Essence has a really big generator bonus multiplier, and Natalia's doesn't get anything from this patch, so that's kind of pointless. But what you can do is a Natalia God 4 hybrid setup with spike traps and Hell Trapper. This is what I'm gonna try. Because if this is my dream essentially, I guess, with the 4-piece bonus has a proc coefficient. You can proc a lot of spike traps with the Hell Trapper, and I want to try that. So that's kind of like a meme setup. It's not going to be good, but
How do you feel about the grenade sets?
The grenade sets? What do you mean?
Yeah, like grenade just being the thing.
Rapid
fire grenades.
I don't like rapid fire very much. I don't like grenades in general. So like the Hellcat Waistguard.
I don't either. I was just hoping that you had the same opinion.
Yeah, Hellcat Waistguard is so annoying. So for every you need it for every grenade build, and it's fucking annoying. So
like
the grenades go everywhere, and it just punishes you for even playing the bad maps because the grenades bounce into the wall and disappear. It's just terrible design as well. So if you could control it a bit more, if the grenades would bounce back from the wall or whatever, then maybe it would not be that terrible. But Maybe they could just like reduce the bounce range. That would be better already, but yeah, I don't know.
I don't dislike rapid fire, but I hate rapid fire with grenades. I think it's horrible. So I'm just curious if you felt the same. If you're like, oh, if you were gonna be like, oh, I love that build, you know, and I was like, oh no.
I played it once when it came out in season 17, the rapid fire, and I was like, okay, it's a new build. I'm gonna try it, but I was already not convinced when I started, and I don't know, like. I played a bit, got a nice rank, and then I quit and never touched it again. It's like, goodbye, rapid fire.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Do you think there'll be any motivation to run multiple generators, or just like one's going to be the best?
Yeah, there is. Like if this Odyssey's End stays as it is, it's a really big damage buff, and that could be used for party, for like speed farming. So there's potential to combine the Odyssey's End with Untangling Shots and especially Hanging Arrow, because Hanging Arrow has only one item. So you can actually wear the bow and the quiver, and then you have everything you need, essentially. So this is, I think it could also work with bowlers, actually, with the cube. So you can go double bow with the Leonine bow, Odyssey's End, and then the bowler quiver. So that would also work. So I think we're going to see some setups like this. Yeah.
Do you think there's any place for like a support DH coming up to the ranks?
That's very hard to say. So like for any triple support setup, there's gonna be DH now. Like there's no question about the first slot. DH is gonna bring so much damage. The question is just, can you beat the monk consistently with the DH? Or can you replace the monk? And that's hard to do. So that kind of depends on the form and meta, essentially. So, you know, how squishy or how tanky is the trash clear in Foreman. And if the trash clear is super tanky, you can bring a lot more damage from the Demon Hunter. But the damage reduction that the monk gives is a lot, you know? So
yeah,
we'll have to see.
That healing's hard to replace.
It really depends on the meta. I believe there are possibilities to include support DH in a lot of setups. Just because the Odyssey's Ended buff just really pushes it, you know, like to kind of like a really strong spot. But you have to make the other party members survive somehow. And the Barb...
You don't think you could replace the Barb?
Nah, replacing Barb is never going to happen. Especially not with this damage set, so... Barb
the pull's just too
Barb
important.
is the number one support, and like that used to be Monk in the past, and now it's Barb. So there's no way to... Like in 2-man, people used to push like Monk plus DPS, or something, but now it's Barb plus DPS, and it will stay that way. Like Barb just brings almost the same damage reduction as the Monk, I think, and also the pulling and so on. So there's no way.
Right. Yeah.
So any predictions on what the Holy Point shot will do for the DH?
Holy Point Shot. Yeah, Holy Point Shot is going to be a nice upgrade to Impale, kind of like bringing it close to the top of Demon Hunter solo, and then also with the nerf to Crusader and the buff to Holy Point Shot, I think that should put at least 3 Rift Guardian killers in like a very close range of each other. The Frenzy, the Chris, and the Impale. So,
do you think Impale has enough survivability with the damage increase? I know that like the elite Demon Hunters find a way to stay alive. I don't know how you guys can do it so much, but on your above average players, do you think they can still stay alive at those high levels?
I'm talking about solo or group here.
Solo. Yeah.
I mean, you can make shadows quite tanky. So typically people, you place like Wolf with Boar Companion, and I know it's like all good sets, and I don't know exactly what people are using at all like the various stages, but there are a lot of ways to make it quite tanky. And then as you have more Paragons and more experience, you can slowly replace, piece by piece, and take a little more damage in. So
I mean, for me, Shadows always felt crazy tanky, but maybe because I played
it is rather tanky when you have this tanky setup. So you can make it tanky, and you can play it at low Paragon as well. So that works.
Yeah, I haven't played it in a long time, but I just I see the damage increase, and I'm thinking, okay, if they can jump up, let's just say they jump up 10 GRs from that damage. I don't know. Can they survive those 10 GRs too?
Yeah. I mean, like the 100% damage increase, that would mean like around 4.5 GRs, so like between 4 and 5 essentially.
4 and 5 jump.
Yeah. So this is it gives like a nice boost, but it's not crazy for the damage from the monsters. Monster damage is 2.3% per tier, and this means like 10%, maybe 12% more damage or so. It's not super crazy.
Yeah, so they're already, man, we had numbers pulled up a while back, Fluff. I think Impale was like 128-ish And so if you added 5 GRs onto that, so to say, you're still not gonna. What they said they wanted to balance at 135, I think, right? So
I
that
think
still seems like.
yeah, 135
Was it
for
130?
5k Paragon though, I think. So this is like the balance.
Yeah. You
Balancing
think it's
goal.
in balance?
I mean, they have to nerf almost everything if they want to reach that goal, I guess. So
Yeah, that's kind of how I'm looking at it too. It feels like everything's above that, or a
yeah,
lot of things are
exactly.
above that.
A lot of things are above that, but maybe they say, okay, we want like this Paragon 5k with like not super crazy gameplay and not super crazy fishing, and then have like these guys that go a few tiers higher because of playing better and fishing more and so on. So
Yeah.
maybe this would be like you still see those 140 clears and they're happy with that anyway. So yeah, but
The highest NA right now is a 123 at 3.5k.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, but this seems
overall
too low. So it's not the meta build, so people are not really trying too hard with Impale. So
Okay.
it's usually like the starter build that a lot of people push, especially on the low end. And then like high end people push rapid fire. And this season a little bit of multi-shot. I pushed multi-shot, for example. I did a 130. That was pretty cool. But
I wouldn't want it to overshine the new set too. So like it's okay if it. I think the buff's awesome if it can potentially make it RGK for 4-man, because then if you play Demon Hunter, you can say, yeah, I got RGK. I can jump in with you guys.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the good part about it. Like it might not even be the best RGK, but it's going to be close. Most likely it's going to be very close. Yeah. Let's say they have like a 3-minute boss kill on Demon Hunter and like a 240 on the Crusader. This is going to be close enough to just let people go,
to bring
okay,
them in. Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, just get what you can get. So
yeah, exactly. I think that's really cool, and I hope Necro's in that place too, where it's like you can say, hey, I need RGK, and you can, I got a Necro, or I got Demon Hunter, I got a Crusader, or whatever.
Yeah.
All right, cool, jump in.
Yeah, personally, I think that I don't really enjoy Impale very much. So I think the solo pushing is quite boring, and I also think the Rift Guardian Killer is quite boring on Shadows, because you hold up one button as a Rift Guardian Killer, and that's it. So Crusader is more engaging. You have this rotation, especially with the hammers, it's quite fun. But even without, you have to go, like cycle around and so on. But on the Impale, you usually do one click, and that's it. So it's kind of sad. I hope that they would, maybe change something about that. But I can also understand that they want to keep like one simple set that you can play if you want. So why not?
Mm-hmm. I'm the same way. Like I always say, like the left click builds, like the one click builds, man, they put me right to sleep. So I never really loved Impale.
I think Impale is like the best starter set for a brand new player.
Yeah,
it's tanky and it's easy to play. And then
Yeah, exactly.
I think
it's very new friendly.
It's
very straightforward. So you can't really go wrong with Shadows. So then if they buff it a bit more, kind of like to like the more top levels of Demon Hunter, I guess why not? It's fine. Like such a buff is definitely it's fine. So
yeah.
Do you think that the gears like N6 Gears 4 will make Natalia somewhat more like the original playstyle of Natalia like possible again?
I mean, you're still not gonna like the original playstyle of Natalia was Rain of Vengeance, and that's still not gonna do damage. So you would just use Rain of Vengeance as an activator for your pure damage, and that's it. So I think it's more like you're kind of like deceiving yourself if you want to do such a setup, because Rain of Vengeance is not gonna do anything. So.
Season 22 is going to be the Natalia rework. I'm calling it. Like
I don't want to rework. I like the way Natalia.
I know. I mean, just fix. I mean, just like I actually do too. Like you strafe around and drop Rain of Vengeance. Like I want to see that be a thing. I would want to see it be a trash clearer in 4-man metas. Like how cool would that be?
That'd be dope. Yeah.
Group up a big pack. You're strafing in the center.
Yeah, season 3, season 4, Natalia. That was like one of the most fun times, I'd say.
Yes.
Yeah. Both.
Yeah.
Like
we agree on so many things.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's true. Like the crashing rain belt, it's it's so weak these days. But if they just add like a 0 to crashing rain or something, and maybe
a 0,
just add a 0 like straight up, it would be amazing. You see this big burst every time you press Rain of Vengeance. It would be amazing. So and this is exactly what we need. So
and Rain of Vengeance is like some of the coolest looking runes I think in Diablo 3. Like the ice one, like where the gargoyles come down. Like that shit looks dope.
There's so many cool things in Diablo. I bet myself, I haven't seen, and a ton of the viewers haven't seen. It's like just go throw on random runes and cast things, and you're like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Didn't even know that existed.
But it sucks.
Yeah.
So, what was your favorite DH build of all time?
Oh, that's hard to say honestly, because there's been like this, this season where this build was the meta, and this season and so on. So I liked most of the season where I played Demon Hunter and played a new build. But I think the favorite of all time is probably Fan of Knives. So at least for RS. I guess in vanilla it was Spike Traps. Yeah. So end of vanilla, Spike Traps was insanely strong, and that was really fun to play. But otherwise,
well, I don't think I played Spike Traps.
I don't think I remember.
How did that play? How did that play? What was the play style?
Okay, so the playstyle was it was like an MP10 farming build, so I played it mostly solo, and there was a rune on Spike Traps called Echoing Blast that later got reworked, but essentially Spike Traps triggered automatically when enemies walked over them, and Echoing Blast would explode 3 times in a row, like once every second or so, or once every half second. So you put down a bunch of Spike Traps and you lured the monsters in, or you just made the pull and then dropped it in the middle. And then see like 5 explosions every second from all these spike traps, like going boom, and like after a few seconds you could just do the same again, just go like over and over these explosions, and that just felt amazing to play. It was like a very small AOE, lots of damage, and you could blast elites like this and so on. It was really amazing, and lots of fun to play.
Solo grouping sounds like it could be difficult or RNG based on the rift you got. Well, I guess there wasn't any rifts in vanilla. You were
there was some rifts. So you're just farming like Feast of Misery or something. So yeah, I mean, it's a small AOE, but like if you make such a similar playstyle again, I would love that. So I don't think this would be very RNG heavy or something. So just put the spike drives on the pool, and because it was such targeted high DPS, in a small area. It felt really amazing, like all these builds that have like this big burst, like Bazooka or whatever. I haven't played Bazooka, but imagine it's amazing to actually play the wizard in Bazooka, because you feel the impact,
Explosions, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's like there's some other builds like this, like Witch Doctor now. Witch Doctor is also amazing because you feel the impact. You wait and you set it up and then boom, and all of these builds are quite rewarding, I feel. So if you just shoot or something, like it's typically not that interesting. But if you can set it up to do a big burst, then typically this is really cool, I think.
So when you saw the new set, is it what you what skill did you kind of expect the new set to be as a longtime DH?
Well, I expected it to be Elemental Arrow or Strafe. So one of the two was, I think, the most likely candidates. We already have a lot of elemental support, elemental arrow support for like Marauders and Unknown Essence and so on. But I felt like no one is really seriously playing this. So I felt like they were going to do like a set for that. So and they actually made it Strafe. So I guess it was like one of the two. So yeah, I felt like that was.
Is that what you wanted?
I wanted Spike Traps because I just love that skill. Yeah, so I actually made like 2 videos actually about my own Demon Hunter set ideas. One was before season 20, and one was like recently, a few weeks ago. And I kind of like talked about my own ideas. And one of the actually the strafe setup is very close to one of the ideas from my old video, which was also like a strafe generator, shooting generator kind of version. It was a little bit different, but in the end, the design is very similar. So I'm actually surprised, but also amazed, I have to say. I think it's a great set. So the way they maybe they got inspiration from it, maybe not. Who knows?
Yeah.
But,
I
think
the same thing with me is like the new Necro stuff is. I mean, I suggested Bone Spear. I think everyone thought it was gonna be revived, but I was like, I think. Because like Bone Spear shouldn't even be on Pestilence. It's just there. It doesn't do anything.
Yes. Yeah.
So.
I think also like the Necro set is well designed as well. Like I think both sets are going to be very fun to play. And also like when I was thinking about what Necro could get, I also thought, okay, it's most likely revive or some kind of attack build, that doesn't rely on cooldowns and this kind of stuff. Because this is really like one of the big, one of the big things that turns people off,
The cooldown.
The cooldown, the Land of the Dead every time, the same stuff, and
it made it tanky for a chance.
And it's tanky, yes. It's actually insane. So
it's always the DHs though. I found that like historically, I feel like, well, what class did you play before Necro? they're like, well, DH, like every DH hates stacking cooldown. I don't know what it is.
Well, we need 37%, and you know that this is the limit. So we don't go above that.
Right. Because we're like 65, let's go.
Yeah, exactly. Stack all the cooldown. Yeah.
Like as much 70, whatever you can get.
Hell yeah, dude.
Let me get it. All of it.
So you talked about what you would have done. You said you would have suggested something more along the lines of spike trap. Is for the necro, would you have said bone spear, or what did you think that? I mean, obviously we all thought it was going to be revived, but were there anything you were hoping for there?
Well, I wasn't really hoping for much because I was like, okay, a new necro set is coming out. I'm probably gonna try it and so on. But I was mainly interested in the Demon Hunter. Sure. So I was just going to play whatever they come up with on necro because I don't really have that much experience with necro. So I played a few builds. That's it. So then mostly when it came out, so I was experimenting with all the stuff before the stats came and so on. So just at the beginning of necro mostly I played. And I was like, okay, let's just see what they cook up. And I like the design of the set. So it's like kind of like an attack build, and probably it probably plays rather similar to multi-shot, I assume, and I'm gonna enjoy that. So I'm excited to try it.
So to me, like, seems like one of the problems with DH has been like the mixing of the sets, like being able to mix Natalia and Marauder. I think has been like a pretty bad thing for the DH. What are your thoughts on like mixing sets for the DH? Do you think it's been like okay overall, or?
I mean, I don't think it's really a problem. So it might limit the design space for like the new set and so on. But with the way they design it now, it's not really hard to go around this limitation, I guess. So just you move around some of the effects on your sets, whatever they make, and then it's fine. So I don't think it's really a problem. And 6M4 is not really an insanely strong build right now. It was in the past, it was the meta for a while. And I don't really like the setup in general because it's like no convention and endless walk, and you have to stand still a lot and so on. So it's kind of annoying. But
switching is horrible too. Yeah.
Yeah, but overall, it's like another build, and it's rather balanced with all the other builds on DH. So I mean, why not? Just let people play it. So,
sure.
It's just there, and it doesn't really, it's not a top build, so as long as it's not a top build, I guess everything is fine. Yeah. If it's close to the top, it's good. So
going forward with the DH, we get this new set and say this goes over great, and it's a ton of fun to play. In future updates, is there anything else you'd like to see happen? Obviously, maybe a Natalia update, but what is anything else you'd like to see?
They could do a lot of stuff. So sure. Just balancing out a bit more. So you have like Marauders back on the top again somewhere, and then like multi-shot could get a nice boost, maybe with like another armor slot item, because there's actually nothing for multi-shot. So there are some options, and like they're definitely just balancing out. Like demons are really used to having good balance on their solo builds. So at least for like a few seasons, like after the Phantom Knife seasons, we had like season 9, 10, 11, and so on. There were like 4 or 5 Demon Hunter builds all really close. And we have to get back to that spot, I guess. So you can kind of like decide, okay, this season I want to play Demon Hunter, but last season I pushed Impale, so this time I'm going to go with Marauder. So this is mostly what we need, I think. The sets, the builds, and so on are overall pretty good and pretty well designed and fun, just the way they play. Most of the builds, I'd say, like, everyone enjoys something else. But we need more balance now. Right now it was like rapid fire meta, and it's like the worst case scenario. Rapid fire, right click, AFK, wait until everything is dead 2 minutes later, or 6 minutes in the case of some shitty bosses. This is, it's not good. This is not what we should encourage as like the top meta build, And you can see that the competition has dropped on Demon Hunter. No one is pushing Demon Hunter as a result because of rapid fire. Before that, there was always competition. Like Demon Hunter was not in the meta, but there was always competition on Demon Hunter. But rapid fire, and it just went all down. So
yeah, I remember me and P were both of the same opinions. Like when we saw rapid fire was getting buffed, we're like, okay, that's pretty cool. But then like as soon as we saw it was going to be grenades, it was like, oh, it's the worst rune to pick.
Yeah, it's so
exactly. Like, it's fine if this is like the meta for like one season and so on, but it has to go. And now it's probably gone, so I'm happy. So yeah,
I played it for one night, and I was like, nope, I'm not doing this. I'm play any other class. Like I just this is garbage, man. I just didn't like it. Let me ask how you feel. So Wizard got the new Hydra set this season, and it's not the top set. It's not super OP. It's not better than the previous sets they have. How do you feel about that? Like if Demon Hunter set comes out and it's not the best solo set, it's not the best meta set, like is it a waste? Is that okay?
I mean,
how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean the thing is like for me personally, I don't really care if if it's absolutely the best as long as they're close enough or something. You know, like if it's like 2 tiers behind Rapid Fire, then fine. So the thing is, it's just like for like the overall impact in the community, it has to be the best when it comes out, so that everyone plays it and it's like the new shit. Like this is amazing. Everyone, wow, and this is why it has to be the best, and then you can kind of like slowly balance it to lower tiers or so. So this would be the best way to do it, I think. Even though you already see it coming that it's gonna outshine everything else, but making something OP for one season, or like not really OP, but stronger than the rest at least, is gonna encourage a lot of people to try it and see that this is maybe a really fun playstyle. So even if it's nerfed in the future, they might come back for this build, or fall in love with the class because of this build or whatever, So
yeah,
I think it's good that they make new stuff really good. And it's sad that Hydra is so weak besides the LOD Hydra. And we'll see if some tweaks, I guess, in next patch. So, yeah.
I agree with that. Like Spirit Barrage coming out of the gate so strong, the Crusader set coming out of the gate so strong. Like they're nerfing Crusader 2 seasons in a row because it was
exactly.
so OP.
It's still going to be the best set.
Yeah, that's okay to me though, because a lot of people experienced it because they'd look at it and like, man, that looks fun, that looks awesome. And
yeah, exactly. And I think those people that play Crusader are probably enjoying Crusader as well right now, because just the way that you can make those torment setups on Crusader with Fist of the Heavens, and then you have the Rift Guardian roll, which is quite cool. So
nobody argues that it doesn't deserve a nerf. I don't think there's any Crusader player that's like, nah, it's fine.
Well, you got to think about like, and this is something I wanted to ask you, wudijo. It's like, yeah, like the top percentage of players are still crushing it with Crusader. Top percentage of players are absolutely annihilating with the Witch Doctor. But like 90% plus of your player base is just like, okay, this feels really good. This is really strong. How is there any way that they could nerf it without screwing over the casuals? Is what it feels like at the end of the day.
I mean, if you want to, if the thing is that the nerf is going to affect everyone almost the same way. So like the Crusader nerf with the Shield of Fury, actually, like it's going to make the class a little bit weaker. But for example, for something like solo GR speed farm, it's actually going to be a bit more bearable, because now you don't have to stack 20 times on the shield, you just stack 10 times and you're already at full potential. Or like when you do like some kind of like, let's say 120 speed runs where Crusader can actually do significant damage on elites, as not the main DPS, but it's kind of like the Rift Guardian killer. You reach your maximum potential quicker, and I think that's gonna make the build more fun to play actually because of the nerf. So because you can feel the damage kicking in earlier, kind of like the maximum damage where you start nuking. So before you just stack like 20 seconds or whatever, 10 seconds, and now this time is shortened. It's like squished where you can start nuking. And it's not just a nerf, but it's also changing the gameplay slightly, especially for speedruns. And that's actually beneficial to casuals, I'd say. So, but otherwise, it's hard to say. Like, how can I make it so that it affects the casuals not so much? That they would have to lower the skill ceiling of like Witch Doctor has insanely high skill ceiling right now, especially in solo, I'd say. And on top of that, it has insane fishing potential as well. So the thing is just like the way that the Witch Doctor works with the scaling of more targets, more damage. It's just out of control essentially. So when you get the nice rift and you can play around those big pools, they have to cut back on the scaling essentially.
Yeah.
So,
I always think about that. Like, obviously it needs a nerf. It's insanely powerful right now. But I just always think of that one guy that like he logs in like 5 hours a week, and he's like he did GR80 this season for the first time on the Moon Danugu set, and then next season he's like, I'm gonna do that again, and he's just like he's nerfed like 5 levels, and he's like, why am I less? I wasn't doing that much. So I always just think of that guy.
I mean, it's true. Like these, really, really low end players, they're gonna get nerfed. They're gonna feel bad about it, maybe, or maybe not. Maybe they're not caring because they just run whatever GR feels good, and they don't care what number it is. So there's like these different kinds of people, I guess, and I think it's still
I think a
important
lot of people just see what's OP too. They're like, "What's the top build? I'm gonna make that," and then
exactly.
they just make that.
I mean, for Witch Doctor, the answer is still the same. So you still play the same build. It's just a bit weaker, and okay, a bit. I mean, the nerf for the Witch Doctor is insane. Like especially for 4-man, I guess we're looking at like an 80% nerf. But it's still the best. It's still one of the top 4-man builds, probably. So that's just how good Witch Doctor is. And
it always blows my mind how like well performing like the tier list videos are, because it's always like 99% of you guys are not gonna put this together and like actually push a high end riff with it. Like just play what's fun. Just play what's fun.
Yeah, I agree.
I have to play the best.
Exactly. Like
Witch Doctor metas this season have been a blast, though. Like playing the Witch Doctor in metas has been the most fun meta for me that I've played, and it's because of what you said earlier. When that bomb goes off and you just see an entire screen of mobs get deleted, it's satisfying as hell. You're like, ooh, that was juicy.
That's really the amazing part about Witch Doctor, especially 4-man. Solo pushing, I don't like it very much, I have to say. I
agree with you.
Yeah, solo Witch Doctor is really annoying. So I actually pushed the most keys out of all classes this season on Witch Doctor, and it was just the one class where I never finished my tier that I wanted to do. So I actually deleted my character in the end after 1,800 keys because I just couldn't do it anymore. I didn't want to. So I was just like, okay, that's it. You have to cut it somewhere. I could still do like another clear, like I was pushing like 144 and then I was doing 143, going a little bit lower, trying to, appease the RNG gods a little bit. But it didn't work. And then then even went down to 142. And in the end, I just deleted it, So
I felt the same.
It's so annoying to fish with Witch Doctor.
How do you feel about fishing in general? Like as it's part of Diablo, like we have accepted that. All of us have accepted that. But how do you feel about it? If you could remove some of the fishing, would you? Or do you like it? Is that part of it?
I would definitely like to remove some of the fishing, and I also like to make it maybe easier to fish. So with this is like a big request, but we really need this, like a restart button where you can just like go in and out of the rift really fast instead of going back to the menu every time. The fishing wouldn't be bad. Like farming keys and so on, that's kind of like the price you pay. If you want to push your 1,000 keys, you have to do your 10 hours of torments or whatever, So this is the price you pay. And this is fine. The problem is that you sit in the menu for 15 minutes straight sometimes trying to get a GR. And if you could cut that down to like maybe half a minute or 1 minute at max, where you can open like a GR every 2 seconds instead of every 20 seconds, that would be amazing already. So, and then of course, they could balance out some monster types, they could balance out some maps and maybe nerf conduits and stuff like this. But
what do you think about bringing keys back and like having at least the first floor be predetermined, like in PoE, where like the map you're gonna run? But like, this sounds like I've thought about similar ideas where you can kind of like farm and kind of like maybe enchant keys or like a stack of keys or whatever. But we don't even have keys as an item anymore. And so I don't know. So I would really like to see something like this where you can kind of invest some time into boosting the RNG for your key. But I don't know. It's not coming anyway, so I don't really have any hopes for that. So.
It just seems like there's so few good maps, and it's like you're just fishing the map, and then you're fishing the mob type, and then you're fishing the pylons, and then it's like then you got to have the skill to do it, which is part of it too. But it's
these days, if you wanna push for top 10 ranks, I'd say, especially if your character is not super over leveled in paragons and so on. Then you just have to accept that, every map you play is going to be Festering Woods or Battlefields, and that's it. Those two maps and are the maps you play. And then, they need to have like one of the, 10%, top 10% monster types, or maybe top 20%. And then you play it. That's like 1 in 50 keys or 1 in 100 keys, and that's it. So this is just how it goes. But, I wouldn't mind that as long as we can restart the rift faster. So that's really the big issue, I think. And it would be rather easy to implement. We already have a reset button in Challenge Rifts. I think that should be possible somehow in the Great Rifts as well. So,
Yeah, just maybe go talk to the guy outside, and he.
Yeah, exactly.
can
Talk
close
to Auric or whatever, and then he closes it
Yeah.
for you, and there's like a pop up of and you press accept or whatever,
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I mean, the
yeah.
rift
Okay.
actually closes. Like if you start a GR and you leave the game, and someone else has joined while you were inside, the rift actually closes. So like the technology is there. So you can just join back to the same game if you want, and open a new one. So yeah.
I always feel like there should be some kind of, I don't know, like reward system for like sticking with the Rift, even if it's not a good comp. I don't know if there's any way they could do that, but I always like, yeah, let's just play this out, and it never works out. But
yeah, this is what is also okay. You hated season 19, right? But this is why I loved season 19, because season 19 actually made it so that you were always on the edge of your seat, especially as a viewer. I had a really good viewership on my pushes in season 19 because it was always exciting until the last moment. You could always, somehow get this crazy chain reaction of, like the 150 into the chest at 200 into the Fire Nova, and then you're sitting at 380 stacks, you make a pull, and then you do the meteor shower, spawn the boss, the angels arrive, and you could do all of that in like the last minute of the run, even if you're sitting at 50% progression, and suddenly, everything explodes and you clear it. And that's essentially what happened in my 150 in season 19. So, this was amazing because you could play through so many bad maps and still, stay on time through those procs because you could kill elites. And, like it didn't really matter, you tried to get a good rift, of course. But in season 19, I played through so many terrible rifts. And I played until like 10 minutes in, until 12 minutes in, and so on. Even though I was like, 6 minutes behind on the timer. Because there was still a chance. And this is kind of like what's missing in the current version of the game, where you don't have a chance. You need to stay on time, and then you get a convoy somewhere, and then you have 3 minutes, and it might be enough to kill the boss. So it's kind of like always the same, and as long as you don't get the progression fast enough, you just leave. But in season 19, you played almost every rift essentially, and that was really amazing. So
true.
yeah, that was kind of the reward of it. You could get this crazy chain reactions, and you could set it up, to where you actually clear the rift, and even in a hopeless case, it would be hopeless these days. So,
And that's what makes me analyze this seasonal theme a little bit and scrutinize it, I guess, even because if they don't make it powerful enough to affect the rift clears, then it doesn't matter. Then it's kind of a moot point. Like, why have it? And if it's powerful enough to affect the clears, then we got season 19 all over again. Now it's going to be like group. Okay, 2-minute timer is about to go off. Get in there. Boom. All right, group. 2 minutes later, timer goes off. Boom.
We don't know. I mean, it could be like tuned down a bit. For example, this is 19. We had at 50 stacks. That was like quite early in the chain reaction. We had this rain of corpse pieces or whatever it was, and that did some damage and usually killed all the trash or almost killed the trash. So for example, like Tuss Bogans survived it by a little bit and so on, and it did like maybe 40% HP on a pack. So I think it's gonna be somewhere in that category, where it's important and you have to play around a bit, but it's not gonna be like it's gonna one shot everything. So
yeah,
I assume it's gonna be more like that, so where it kind of helps you out, but it's not like completely game defining. So we'll see. Yeah. And it's probably not going to kill the boss either. So I assume they don't like that we kill bosses easily. So we'll see.
I imagine not.
Yeah, I don't think the boss is going to get one shot.
The ultimate question. Poof, tomorrow you're put in charge of Diablo. You got one thing to delete and one thing to add. What do you do?
One thing to delete.
Bye-bye Necro.
Oh. I mean, I don't like Necro very much, but it wouldn't be that bad. One thing to delete, that's really hard. One thing to add, I mean, both is really hard. So, I mean, they've been focusing on a lot of like sets and making new playstyles and so on. But I think what we really need is some other like kind of like end game activity or so, where it's not just farm, push, or farm and then farm XP and so on. So we need to make something like that. Maybe boss fights. We have the Ubers that we talked about earlier. So if it could add something like that, I think that would be cool. Where I have like some other progression path. They have bounties, you have rifts, you have GRs for speeds, you have pushing, and then you have like this other thing that would be maybe boss fights, or maybe some kind of like another like more like set dungeons where you have to do like a certain challenge, or you have like traps like the labyrinth in PoE, or something like that. So that would be amazing. But I don't know what it would be, but yeah, this could be something to add, I guess.
Sure.
And then to remove, I guess. I mean, there's a few things that I really hate, but it's hard to just remove it. For example, I hate that Rift Guardians have so much HP and they take so much time and they need to stricken and so on. So I would like to remove the dependency on stricken, kind of like that, for example. So that would be one thing. But I'm not sure if this is good enough. So
all right, I gotta A/B. I'll help you with this a little bit. You have to pick between removing the spear throwers or Juggernaut. What are you gonna pick?
Oh man, probably
you're gonna
probably
pick
Juggernaut.
one. Like
I would say Juggernaut.
Juggernaut. Thank you.
Right.
I mean,
choice.
spear throwers.
I mean, they both suck, but
I mean, okay, and people are talking about the sets with the problem with multipliers and so on. Yeah, but this is not nothing that's realistic. I think like the complete rebalancing of everything. Like they should never have gotten the numbers so big in the first place. But now we're there, and if they ever want to rebalance this, it would need an expansion, and that's not coming. So I don't think they can just do a patch and people are gonna be unhappy. I think if you do like an expansion, it's gonna be tons of new awesome stuff. Then you can justify nerfing everything into the ground, kind of like the 10,000% damage buff becomes 100% or whatever. But this is unrealistic to do it these days, I'd say. So
Can you imagine a world where we go back to like 45s?
yes,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that would be amazing. Just nerf everything. Go back 3 years. Just set up the time machine. I don't mind. The thing is that when everything is closer together, it doesn't really matter too much which build you're playing, and it also doesn't matter too much which item choice you do and which skill. Maybe you want to change some stuff in your setup. It's much easier to adjust your setup when the numbers are not that insane. Like if you have a set that gives you 10,000% damage, this is mandatory. There's no choice. You have to do this. And then you have like an item like Yang's V curve or blood type blade or whatever. You have to use this item if you want to use that skill. There's no way around it. But if Yang's V curve gives you let's say 10% resource cost reduction and 20% bonus to multi-shot, and then 15% bonus attack speed to multi-shot, and blood type blade gives you like 5% bonus damage to Death Nova for each enemy, then you would have a choice, between this or maybe a furnace or maybe echoing fury even or whatever, but this choice doesn't exist, and this is kind of like the big issue, I guess. So yeah.
Creep is a thing that happens in every game, though. Like there's no universal solution. Like, I can't think of a single game that.
But the problem is that this has creeped into mandatory range. The build needs this, and this is kind of like the rest is not creeping with it. Like some stuff creeps up, but the rest is staying far behind and never gets touched again. So the creep itself, the numbers, that's all okay. Some people like big numbers. I don't care, but it's much easier to make setups and make interesting balancing choices and so on when stuff is closer together. So
nice.
Yep.
Sorry, I just had toxic.
Sorry,
chat,
I went really
lighten
long
up for a second there.
Yeah.
I went really long there, but yeah. Sorry.
So moving on to some other subjects, I appreciate your DH insight because we just didn't have it last week. But looking at the future of Diablo, right? So, I'm sure you've heard about all the rumors of this Diablo 2 Resurrected. I was curious your perspective. If you're in the we need to be like a purist camp, or like we got to change up Diablo 2 to make it relevant. Where do you kind of lie?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that Diablo 2, when they just release it as it was with better graphics, I don't think it's going to attract a lot of people. So there's obviously this hardcore Diablo 2 player base, they still play today, and like a remaster will obviously bring a lot of hype and a lot of people that's gonna try it, maybe for the first time even. But overall, it's a very outdated game, and a lot of mechanics, like the end game, it's like very repetitive, and a lot of like quality of life features need to be added, I think, to make this pleasurable experience. So I don't know, like they have to add, like more storage, for example, more stage space, and like swap items between your characters, not just going into the multiplayer game and dropping it in a corner. Stuff like this is really annoying. And this is like the absolute must-have, I think, for such a rework. But otherwise, there's going to be a lot of people that will enjoy Diablo 2, I think, if they remaster it. I think it's quite likely that the rumors are true. And just with the timing and so on, it kind of fits well. And Blizzard likes remastering games right now. So I think we're going to see Diablo 2 next. So but it will have some changes. It's not gonna be like the WoW Classic where they really try very hard to make it the exact same. And there's gonna be.
I just think
it needs some quality of life.
Anyone talks about change, it's like
I do
Mr.
too.
Llama freak out.
I do too. But it's not like there's a group of people that I'm just like, these guys are gonna lose their mind and go crazy on us if we even say change it. But if it's the same game, I'll play it, sure, probably. I'll play through the campaign once, maybe, and that's it.
Yeah,
but if they
exactly.
take some liberties, then it could be fun, man. They could make it. But I think Fluff had a great suggestion. He was saying to have 2 different modes, have Diablo 2 remastered, and then have like the resurrected portion be like okay, we changed some things. Check this out. But your original intact version is still right here. Have fun with that.
I mean, that could work as well, I guess. So if they want to add like more kind of like end game, maybe they add something like rifts or whatever, so just don't farm like the same boss over and over. Why not? That sounds pretty cool, actually. I guess I would increase the longevity of such a remaster as well, and make people play it more.
Yeah.
And then fast forward, Diablo 4. What has kind of been your overall feel based on what we've seen so far?
Our feeling is really good, actually. So I really dislike the item system right now, at least the stats and so on. But I think that's going to be like, fleshed out a little bit in the future. It's like an early version, whatever. So I like that they have these mythic items. I think they're really cool. This can be amazing, especially because it's going to make items, really unique with like certain, multiple affixes and so on. That sounds fun. The overall graphics seem nice. The atmosphere seems cool. So overall, I like the game as, like the cosmos of, being part of the Diablo world and so on. So I think that's going to be pretty amazing. I'm just really worried about the end game, like itemization, and also the skill trees. They look a little boring. So they look worse than the Diablo 2 skill trees, and they are already rather boring. So I hope they're gonna change something there. It's like you go straight down and you have like one choice on the left and one choice on the right, and one is like the AoE choice, one is the single target choice, okay, and then you have like this other choice, one is the offensive, one is the defensive. It's rather way too simplistic, I'd say. And
what did you think from the itemization 1.0 to the 2.0? Did you like the ancestral, demonic, angelic at all, or was it still not really hitting for you?
They kind of wanted to make it so that it's like kind of like an extra power that activates when you have this amount of angelic power or whatever. So you get like an extra boost. But essentially, it's the same as stat requirements, because you need to hit the requirement to make this item worth. Because it's going to take up some of the item budget, and if you want to have a good item or a good build, then you need to hit all the requirements. So in the end, it's the same. So I don't really mind that. I think it's going to be interesting to see, what kind of like directions to take it. But then again, it's also like a rather bland system. Like angelic power gives you like some damage, and this other one gives you some more proc chances or so. And that's about it. So one is like utility, one is offense, and one is defense or so. Okay, it's like another way to customize, I guess. But in the end, it seems like you're just gonna stack one of them and that's it. So there needs to be a little bit more interaction, I guess, between them.
Did you get hit with any kind of Diablo 3.5 feel when you saw Diablo 4 for the first time, or was that just me and P?
No, not really. So.
Okay.
I think it's because you had to play it though. You had to like sit down and.
Oh yeah, you actually played it, Fluffy, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
A
So
lot.
I heard that the gameplay feels rather similar from.
It did. Yeah.
You
And I
generate
think that's not a bad thing,
4-bit
because
cooldown.
this actually shows us that they're on the right track with the gameplay. So you know, everyone likes Diablo because of how smooth the gameplay is. You know, how the combat feels and so on. Like the flow of combat is probably the best in the ARPG genre in Diablo 3. And if Diablo 4 feels like Diablo 3, then this is a good sign and not a bad sign. And
Have you ever played Lost Ark?
I knew this was coming. I was waiting.
no, I
Yeah.
haven't. I was going to try it at some point, I guess, when the release comes, the worldwide release or whatever, then maybe. But otherwise, no. Because why do you mention it?
It's
I
game.
think-
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
It's-
Lost Ark has it's a whole nother level of combat. Like,
Yes?
I would have agreed with you before
Yeah.
I played Lost Ark.
I would have too. It's game changing. Once you play Lost Ark, you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't think this was a thing. This is a thing. So
Okay, then I'm quite
You should
excited.
try
actually, now.
Devil Hunter in Lost Ark, because that's you written all over it.
Okay, I'm gonna remember.
and it's not saying that D3's bad. It's
Right,
that's
yeah.
not it.
That's
It's
not
just
what I'm
saying that like Lost Ark just did it in a way where the combat feels like, you know, it's English translation for me because I don't speak Russian or Korean, so the story's broken and this and that, but just the combat itself is so much fun.
Right.
So I agree.
Okay, yeah, it sounds amazing. Then I'm quite excited to try. I haven't had a chance to try it yet, so we'll
Yeah,
see.
it's a hassle. You get a VPN and all that.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. So I'm probably just gonna wait until it actually comes for
might
us
not.
Europeans.
If
might
yeah,
not
if
ever,
it ever comes, right?
Yeah.
It sucks.
But that's interesting. So, you know, some caution. I think we all have a lot of like reservations about Diablo 4. So
Yeah, I mean, I also have caution. So I think it's gonna be good. It's gonna be like spectacular release anyway, probably, and then we'll see how it continues after that. So the thing is, they need to make endgame systems that can compete with essentially like all of PoE. So I think there's gonna be you know the main competitor, and PoE will have grown like another 5-6 patches, like even the big expansion of PoE 2.
I know.
And there's gonna be so much stuff, so much to compete with, and the fresh ARPG has to kind of like come up with all of this at once, or not most, but maybe like 30% of it. You have to bring at least like 30% of the content of PoE to be a competitor, and then you can grow over time.
That's the thing. They're getting into that WoW territory. PoE is like everybody's like, oh, this is a WoW killer. This is a WoW killer. Nothing's killing WoW because WoW has endless content. Like,
exactly. Like WoW, you start it and everyone has played it, everyone is playing it, whatever. It's always a game to come back to. It's like something that everyone knows, and this is why it will always be like at the top essentially until it eventually actually dies. It's at some point
uphill.
Exactly. At some point, WoW will probably die, but it's only because it gets abandoned or whatever. It's unlikely that it's just gonna, it's not gonna get pushed away. That's what I mean.
PoE is super smart by stacking their content season after season, because when Diablo 4 does come out, PoE is gonna have 50 different endgame modes, and Diablo's gonna have 2 or 3.
Exactly.
Definitely the right play to just like rebrand PoE 2 and just take everything that they already have and just build on it.
Yeah, 100%.
Exactly.
We kind of, go ahead.
No, I just want to say, like, when Diablo 4 comes, they have to be really fast with really big patches. They have to bring the same updates or even bigger updates in PoE. They have to kind of like catch up over time in the amount of content. As long as you reach like a certain level, like not everyone is playing through all the PoE content. There's like tons of stuff that even the most pro players have never touched in PoE because it's simply so much. So you don't need that much, but you need to get to kind of like the same order of magnitude at least, which is still hard to do. And this is
I don't think anybody can touch PoE's content. Like they release so much content that I'm just waiting for the Kotaku article about how they lock their employees in the building and don't let them go home or something. Because I don't know, man. I don't know how they can.
It's wild.
Because the studio's not even that big, from what I understand. It's not like it's 700 devs working there. It's like 100 people or something. I don't know.
I think it's probably like around 200 by now. I don't know exactly, but it's not really that small anymore. So it's grown a lot. And you can see that the leaks are getting bigger as well. So they really release lots of stuff in a leak, and it is getting more. So they're really trying hard.
It's crazy. Like patch note day in D3 versus patch note day in PoE. It's like, wow. It's like a novel versus like a little poem or something, a haiku.
Yeah. We skipped over something though. There was news today that the BlizzCon 2020 is officially nixed. It's ripped. And that kind of sucks. So like Fluff and I have gone to the last 2 BlizzCons, and I gotta say, man, it was one of the highlights of the year for me. It was a lot of fun. It was a blast hanging out with the community and meeting all the people, and it's disappointing, but it makes sense. Like this is something that I think Fluff and I even talked about, is if we would go, if they did have it this year, if with the Corona stuff being as crazy as it is. So I'm not surprised they canceled it, but I am surprised that there's no virtual event planned in its place.
They actually
which leads
they said we'll be giving you something likely sometime early next year. And it's just like, to me, it's like, wait, weren't you gonna show us stuff this year? Like, isn't it just like normally like something that happens every year? So why can't you just like do that?
Just do the virtual ticket.
That seems really odd. I mean, this is like almost half a year until the regular BlizzCon, and it's not really hard to set something up in that time frame. Like this over 5 months. You can do like a virtual event. Like BlizzCon is already kind of like a video virtual. Like most people are watching it virtually anyway. Like there's very few people that actually go there. So all you have to do is like make the panels, talk about stuff. Of course, you don't have the hype, you don't have the crowd and whatever, and not the cosplay competition. But everything else is fine. You can still do the tournaments, you can still do the showcases. So that seems really weird to me.
They could still showcase. They could even produce VODs for the games, like where they could. I mean, they could even. This would give them a chance to even polish the content they put out better. Yeah. Because instead of having a live on stage, you could have producers talking to a camera with, scripted out and make sure they get the point across the way they want it, and the footage the way they want it and all that. Do you think they just don't have new stuff to show us? Like,
there's no way. I mean, even an updated like demo for Diablo 4 would be like hype
exactly.
enough for me.
I mean, it's 1 year worth of development on like 4 or 5 different games. So. There's a lot of stuff to show on BlizzCon, even if it's not a big year, like no WoW expansion, and no, I mean, we already know that Diablo 4 is coming, so, but there's still, everyone's looking forward to it, so this really surprised me. And I don't think they're really losing money making a virtual showcase. Like BlizzCon tickets are quite expensive, like even the virtual ones.
You think they might even make more money because the people that would have bought tickets and gone were going to buy virtual too, and then they don't have to rent out the arena for $1 billion, whatever that costs, and just put on these performances and shows and stuff. So
I expected when they pushed out that CDN build that like maybe like as part of Virtual Pass you're going to get like a D4 demo. I've been like, oh my god, they're going to sell so many tickets this year.
Yeah,
that would be insane. But,
I'd buy a ticket probably regardless, but if they had a D4 demo, it would be hands down, like instant. Okay, done.
I don't know. Overall, I have to say this is really sad news. That I mean, BlizzCon was most likely going to be cancelled, at least the physical part of BlizzCon, I guess. So I was actually going to go to BlizzCon this year. So I was going to set up like a donation goal and see where I can get, and I would really like to go to BlizzCon once at least. And I was going for this year, and then like obviously this would most likely be cancelled, so I didn't even bother with trying to get a.
Well, hopefully, and then if they do, let's say that they do one in February. Let's say they said early part of the year, so let's say March first quarter.
I mean, this is not happening anyway, so there's not going to be any events like this even in February. It's just not happening. And
yes, let's just say they did it in March, right? So were they going to turn around and have a BlizzCon in November, like a couple of months later, or does this just screw up the whole timeline now? Like, are we not going to have another physical BlizzCon until 2022? I don't see that happening, but I don't know.
2021, I think end of 2021 is realistic to have a BlizzCon again, probably. But I think we're just going to skip this one essentially, and that's it. So It's kind of like,
Yeah, but
wait, what happened at BlizzCon 2018? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So everyone likes to forget, and it's probably going to be the same. But the problem is, it's going to be, there was just one BlizzCon in between, so that's the sad part.
Yeah.
Just not having those panels and like getting the new juice for the year, like that's just.
Yeah, it does kind of suck.
Yeah.
I was kind of looking forward to seeing what they were going to do with the D4 demo too. Like in a year's progress, like are we going to get a new zone to play in? We're going to get some more stuff, and it's maybe though, maybe you're right, Fluff, and they're going to give us a demo if you buy the pass. It could be maybe they need more time to get that demo polished up. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
So
yeah.
That does kind of suck. And then on top of that, on the BlizzCon being canceled, then we also had a forum post that said that PTR still doesn't have a deadline. Pez posted, or was it Pez that posted that? Let's see. Yep. Pez posted it. I'm looking for it. Typically start with. No, that's not it. Where'd you see that at? I lost it. I lost it.
So he said no updates today. Unfortunately, still hammering on the build here on our end. Still checking for this week, but I don't have any additional timeline updates. I would propose a new date, but then I feel awfully terrible if things didn't hit that date. We'll be back
it makes
tomorrow
sense.
with new news. Yeah,
it makes sense. I would hate to post it and not meet the deadline too, because people freak out. But
of course.
I mean, the way to do this, if you set a deadline that is, very easy to reach, and then you surprise people positively by, going, ahead of that.
Surprise.
So. We'll have it in by quarter 3 of 2020.
That always bites me in the ass because it's like, okay, let me plan my whole vacation schedule around this day, and they're like, we're going to read this early. I'm like, cool, I'm out of the country. Sure.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, for me personally, it's actually really bad timing now as well, because I have this week now where I have time, and then after next week, or starting with next week, I'm gonna have a lot less time, so I can play the first patch of the PTR and then a bit of the next patch, but a little bit sad. But overall,
it's the same for me. Yeah, next week I have no time. I have to, work's kicking back up, and I gotta start grinding again. So. This week would have been awesome. Last week actually would have been good too. But
I mean, it is what it is, and I'm still gonna do my testing and whatever. So it's fine. It's just unfortunate. And if they need more time, then I can totally understand it. They realize that something went terribly wrong, and they need a few days of fixing or whatever. That can happen. So as long as we get a more playable version in the end, then fine. Maybe there was some crazy mechanic they overlooked or whatever.
Well, the CMs in chat saying they just had to remove all the things that I liked, so that extended.
So we need if Blizzard, listen,
toxic.
Just make it a revive set. It's not too late to go revive. Bone Spear sucks. We don't want that. So just make it revive.
Make it revive Thorn's minion build. Yeah, that's gonna be great.
And take out all that tankiness. Needs to get removed completely. Zero.
And make it require Land of the Dead.
Yeah, there you go. Land of the Dead. Yeah.
Smart. You guys got it.
You got it. Nailed it.
Yes.
But I get it. I think we're all in tech. I don't know what you do for a living, wudijo, but I've been part of this so many times where we have a release date of a Thursday, and just Linux box doesn't support something anymore, and it gets shot out. So I totally get it. And it sucks, but I'm not crazy upset about it, obviously.
It's just a personal time thing for me. It's not any upsetness. It's just, this would have been a good time period to have it.
Yeah, I was not upset, so it's just whatever. But a little bit unfortunate, but it's what it is. So.
Yeah, I've missed release windows, and it sucks when you miss a release window because everybody's like, "Well, what happened?" And you're like,
"Right."
All these things that don't make sense to you happen, but I'll explain them if you'd like. Here you go.
Yeah. I bet it's that new CM. He probably fucked something up.
Yeah.
Probably, tripped on
we said we didn't 24th, we said the week of the 4th, something, I don't know.
Totally.
Yeah, also please, Mr. Pass Radar, in the future use more clear time frames, because I get fucking 100 questions a day about, wait, why is the PTR not started yet? When is it gonna start?
Are you playing PTR? right now? That's what I get to.
Are you playing PTR? Yeah, I mean, like this week of 24th, like still people misunderstood that, and yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah. It's wild to see, like, you know, all of us are expecting to play like all Memorial Weekend, and then like to see all the Diablo 3 streamers, and like we're just all over the place in these random directories, like playing other stuff because we're just like so bummed out.
I mean, for me, this was going to happen anyway. So I planned this anyway, so it was fine for me. But,
yeah, let's touch on that. How's Minecraft Dungeons, guys?
Minecraft Dungeons. Yeah, I tried it. It's just I stopped like 2 minutes before I started the podcast. Yeah, I played it actually today, and I don't know. It seems like a super casual kind of like, okay, you play this for a few days and that's it. So I don't know. It's kind of fun to explore like the new game, but I don't think it's gonna really last. So we'll see.
Yeah. So you've got 3 gear slots. Your weapon, your ranged weapon, and your armor. So already it's more complicated than Diablo 4. Kappa. I'm kidding. It's a joke.
Listen, you ever want to know how to not get invited to BlizzCon?
It's a joke. All right. So, and then like the items will have basically it reminds me of World of Warcraft when they originally had like the artifact stuff where you'd like just randomly roll like the powers.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then that's kind of happens. Like you pick 3 enchants, and then like you have 3 activatables basically in your inventory, and those are your 3 skills. It's so casual. It's painful.
Yeah, exactly. It's. I mean, there's like a little bit of, okay, you can build your character in that direction, or you can build your character in that direction. I actually made a bow character, and I was able to clear an entire map just using those arrows, which are like a limited supply. But it does work, so you can do some stuff. So it's kind of fun to find like the combos that work well together. But in the end, I feel like there's not really a lot of like challenge from what I've seen. I mean, stuff can kill you really fast and so on. But yeah, like you kind of like grind out some nice pieces and that's it. So this is what it seems like. And
I think it's a great like, oh, Lindsay is not a gamer, but I'd be like, hey, if you're trying to get into ARPGs, like maybe.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like the starter game probably for this kind of genre now. So
younger, because I feel like ARPGs tune more to an older audience in general. Like younger kids don't really get into ARPGs. They're in the BR scene and they're in all these other things. But a lot of young kids do like Minecraft and games like that. So maybe this can be a way to kind of like, hey, this is kind of cool. Let's get them sucked into ARPGs and
eventually those guys will grow up to be Diablo 4 players. Perfect.
So, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, I can totally see that this Minecraft, with this overlap of the player base that comes from Minecraft is like, like one of the biggest games on earth. Yeah. So it will bring a lot of people, like at least it will bring it to attention of those people that this genre exists and that there's actual games like that, and not just Minecraft. And I think this is going to be a big boost for the genre in general if this performs well. So
yeah. I mean, it's already pretty crazy to me. It's like, so I can go play right now, and like I wouldn't even be like top 5 rows on Twitch. Like, there's so many people playing this game that like don't even touch ARPGs.
Exactly.
So I think it is good exposure for our genre.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and that can just be great for like everyone involved. So I think it's good. Yeah. It's not going to be a competitor for for anything because it's just way too casual. But yeah.
But I have been playing more Lost Ark. I tried out the new Lancer class. Beauty. The combat in that game is just, it's so good, man. I can't say enough positive things. Everything else, really mediocre. I think they could pull the Guardian fights into Diablo 4, but combat, prime.
Yeah, I agree. I think Diablo 4 is already down a road where it can't manipulate into that PoE style. But it's so good. Yeah, Lost Ark is so good. If Diablo 4 would steal, if they would just make one class to steal their cooldown fighting, like I don't just know if it could fit. It's got
everyone would play that one class. It'd be like DH added to WoW.
Yeah, so good, man.
Yeah.
So
wait, what are you guys talking about?
Lost Ark, sorry.
Yeah, but I have no clue. But why is it so amazing?
Yeah. It's great hosting, and we talk about a subject that the guest doesn't know anything about. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
That's I guess that's kind of it. You want to hit Twitter questions? You got any more topics you want to
No, that's all I had on the docket.
Okay. This is the Twitter question section, guys. If you want to ask us or the guest hosts questions, we take them every week before the podcast. Fluff and I have our Discords. There's an Ask New Meta section. You can post in either one of those. You can tweet at either one of us. You can DM us as long as it's, not inappropriate, right, Fluff?
Yeah.
And we'll, take your questions and ask them or answer them live on the podcast. That was an inside joke. Fluff almost got trolled super hard on Twitter.
I was in the Just Chatting directory on Twitch, which I don't do a lot. And I happen to have my Twitter up. And apparently you can just at people, like someone can just at Lord Fluffy nudes. And like it just pops up on my Twitter feed. And luckily I just switched tabs right before someone did that. And so like my phone blew up and I thought it was Lindsay. So I like pulled it up and just like dicks and ass. I was like, what the hell? And if that had happened like 1 second earlier, I'd be banned right now.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Insane. So, if you stream, don't have your Twitter open live stream ever. Because I'm sure I've done it before too, where it's just like,
you're so safe in the Diablo directory. Like everyone's nice.
Weird, man.
SVR would say something else, I guess, but
Right.
Yeah, you get some trolls.
I'm not sure if you know these like comments that SER is getting, and especially YouTube. It's really funny. I don't know why, but everyone is nice in Diablo, but to SVR, no one is nice. I feel like that's really sad.
Well, he deserves it,
There you go.
SBR is one of the nicest guys I think I've ever met, so it's kind of weird when people are mean to him. The comments on YouTube are pretty. I actually screenshot some of the horriblest, worst ones I've ever gotten just because they're so funny. I'm just like, oh my god, did you really just type this? So I don't.
We had a numlock guide, and someone just commented 2 weeks ago that like I was doctoring the video footage, and that's the only reason like the numlock trick worked. It's like, okay.
Yeah, of course. Sounds right. Doctoring the video. Yeah.
Yep. Simple as
that. Eddie says, do you think they missed a trick with chakrams? With the quiver giving you hatred regen, it's technically a generator, so they could have buffed the items from chakram, and we'd see loads of twin chakrams spraying all around the screen.
Is that for the Demon Hunter set now?
Yeah, I assume he's talking about the new Demon Hunter set.
No, that's not gonna happen. So
chakram's not a primary skill though.
Yeah.
So is it?
No,
I don't think it is. Yeah.
It becomes a generator, but there's the other category of primary skills, which are the actual spells.
Yeah.
And this is different. So
I don't think it's coming. Yeah.
It sounded like you just really wanted chakram, and it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, there's no support for chakram anyway, so it would still be a bad setup.
Right.
So there's nothing to do really.
Onion said, with BlizzCon now canceled, what are you expecting from the D4 update blogs?
You want to hit that one first, Moody?
No, I would expect that they would probably try to show a bit more then, because everyone has been waiting for the big update on BlizzCon, I guess. So they could even justify skipping the December update because of BlizzCon, for example. And they're like, we just showed you the guys in the last month. It's kind of like nothing really new. But then they have to do like a big thing on BlizzCon, of course, which is canceled now. And in that case, they kind of have to they have to bring more. Like the last update, it's nice to read a little bit about it. It's nice to see like this monster family and whatever they showed there. And it's it kind of keeps it in the back of your head. Oh, Diablo 4 is coming, But in the end, people want to see endgame. They want to see items. They want to see, the skill tree, whatever, like cool new skills maybe, how can you play? This is what really matters in the end, And, they can add a little bit of fluff, like the monsters and the scenery, and, this is amazing. But this is just filler, around the core, which is the gameplay. And they need to show gameplay or like, gameplay systems, like the items and so on, that actually matter in every single update, so...
I got a question for you, Woody. Like, are you gonna PvP? Are you a big PvP fan? Is that something that's?
I mean, if it's not gonna be like Diablo 2 PvP, where it's just like get one shot everywhere, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, there is some skill involved, obviously, in Diablo 2 PvP, but I think it's very gimmicky. And it shouldn't be gimmicky to be, it's not going to be exciting if it's too gimmicky. I can imagine myself playing PvP in Diablo 4 if it's kind of like well balanced and fun, but I'm not really looking too much forward to that, so we'll see.
Do you PvP in WoW? Or do you...
Yeah, in WoW, I really like it, but the thing is in WoW, everything is fucking balanced, to like the decimals, like WoW is like a super balanced game, for like what the kind of like variety of builds and playstyles it has. And WoW is insanely good in balance, and doing something like similar in a Diablo game is very hard to do. So especially with all these legendary effects with random drops, this is gonna be a nightmare. And if you
separate, they should 100% split it. You got PvE
exactly.
over here, you got PvP over here. Boom.
Yeah, this is
Easy.
the only way to do it, right? So in Diablo 3, they could do something like that as well. Like there was like the big PvP announcement, way before it came out, and everyone's like super hyped because it looked really amazing, and then it kind of didn't do anything with it, even though it had potential. And that was kind of sad. And maybe they're going to do that better in Diablo 4. So I look forward to that. If you have kind of like these arenas or whatever other like PvP system, there could even be like multiple modes. And that would definitely help to grow the player base as well. So
yeah, it's a huge end game activity to supplement, like, okay, I'm burnt out on this PvE stuff. Let's go fight some people,
Yeah, exactly.
So I really hope.
Yeah, even
I get
Battle Royale, like there was this. I'm not sure if you guys have played this, but there was this PoE Battle Royale at April Fools.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like only active for like a week or so, like last year or like the year before, I don't know. And
so you think a D4 BR would be great?
I think that could be amazing. So this has potential. People really like BRs, and going in there, with like a fresh character, and you have to kind of like grind away, and it's like this 1 hour game or whatever, or maybe half an hour or whatever.
We talked about it. Fluff and I have ranted about this on the podcast before, and people think we're crazy because we're both like, a BR and D4 would be phenomenal. It would be so damn good.
Yes.
D4 would be top slot in the directory on Twitch forever.
Yes. I can promise you, if they make a BR in Diablo 4, it's gonna blow everything away in PvP. So
it would crush it. It would, because you could drop down naked every single game, find what you find in these chests or loot from people you kill, and start throwing builds together. You know what I mean? And you're like, okay, wait. I just got a Yang's recurve. All right, multi-shot, and you're switching skills. You're throwing things on to make this play, and it would just be, it would be so phenomenal. It would be so fun.
And imagine like Diablo spawning in at some point in all of this, like just fuck shit up.
Oh yeah, that would be amazing. Suddenly this kind of like maybe instead of like these battle royale, like kind of like decreasing the size of the zone, you have like like a wave of demons coming in from all directions, or some kind of, so maybe you can fight them off even a little bit, but not quite. I don't know. So they could do so much cool stuff actually. Yeah,
it would be crazy. So I'm with you. Like, God, I hope that they actually attempt to try a BR. Back there somewhere, they got a dev team. It's like, all right, let's do this BR thing. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that could be incredible. And it's kind of like like you have this grindy main game, and then people are kind of like, oh, I don't want to do this for now. Let's just go BR until next season.
Yeah. Even be gear dependent. You could be a brand new player and jump into BR, and you have the exact same chance to win the game as anybody else that dropped in that game.
Exactly.
Your skill is what matters, not I'm 5,000 Paragon or I have all these perfectly rolled items. It's just like, boom, we're playing.
Yeah, exactly. And PoE has shown that this is possible and can be really fun. Like there's also huge success when PoE did this.
Maybe PoE will run with it. If somebody runs with it and it's successful, I think other games would be like, okay, well, this is working. Let's try it.
Yeah. I mean, right now, this is not a permanent game mode of PoE. And I think they're probably a little bit scared of kind of like getting people stuck in the BR. They want people to play the main game and not just play BR all day, every day, even though it would...
I'd play PoE BR. I'd flip right now. I'd be like, dude, let's do it. I'd get in. I'd start trying to learn.
I could imagine they're just going to do it again, like on kind of like an annual day or whatever. and that's it. But in Diablo 4, if it's gonna come out with BR, kind of like in mind, with like from the start, it's kind of like, okay, here's your PvP mode, go ahead. Then there's gonna be people that will play Diablo specifically for that, and in PoE, they have the risk of losing the player base to the battle royale mode, and then they never come back, because eventually they're gonna get burned out on battle royale as well. So I think this is the reason why it's not in PoE right now. But in Diablo 4, if you have it from the start, then it's gonna be its own kind of player base. So I think that's fine.
Amen. What was the original question?
I don't know. DP, I think.
This is what you expected for the D4 update blogs.
Yeah. So.
Oh yeah.
To go back to that, I think one of the biggest things that's important for us that are really passionate about the game is, the panels where we get to ask, like the creators get to ask the questions. So like I feel like those are generally like more insightful than just like, like a stage panel, because we just get like better, I think, answers to questions. And two is the other thing that's the gap is like when one of the devs will sit down with one of the streamers and like just play the game. I think that those are some of the most, like when Quinn's was like one of the most insightful interviews at BlizzCon last year. So I mean, to lose that streamer developer interaction this year, I think that really sucked. But maybe that's selfish thinking because I'm a streamer.
We just got to get somebody on the podcast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we'll submit the questions to you ahead of time, like so you can.
Oh yeah, get an actual dev. That would be nice.
That'd be powered,
Like I promise, I won't ask you anything that's gonna piss you guys off. We
sure.
Especially Fluff, like he's trying to get in. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, but yeah, the D4 blogs, I think that unless as they make more progress with the game, we'll get more insightful blogs. And with Corona and everybody working from home and how big that team is and stuff, like I don't expect this blog to be super crazy. I hope they touch on itemization a little bit. I hope they touch on PvP and skills. Like just there's so many things that they could touch on that would be awesome. But I don't expect a crazy blog this time around. I hope I'm wrong. But,
yeah. I mean, the last blog was really disappointing in terms of content. Like it was cool, it was nice, but it was kind of like not showing much. So I think they need to show more. So
yeah, I was a little disappointed with the last one. If I'm being honest about it, I was like, okay.
If you would have told me that last one was gonna be the last one we're gonna get for months, then I probably would have had a different stance on it. But like that was a part of a multiple like announcement in that quarter. So I mean, I thought it was just like bonus. I think the one thing that didn't resonate with a lot of us was the talk about the couch co-op and stuff like that. But it was okay for what it was supposed to be, I feel like. But the fact that we haven't gotten one in a really long time now makes that last one seem very, very shallow.
I mean, this was to be expected though. Every few months, it's once a quarter. So, this is just.
But they came out and said.
It's not what I expected because after BlizzCon, they were so vocal for that month or so, or maybe even two. It was like the D3 team was all over it. The D4 team was all over it. You had all kinds of activity from so many people, and then it just kind of stopped. It's like it dried up.
No, that's true. But I mean, in the end, they give us kind of like what they promised, and
yeah.
I mean, it would be nice to have more. Maybe some posts. Maybe they're kind of like, oh, right now we're working on this, but this is kind of like on the timeline. So probably this will take like 4 months until this part is done. So you can kind of like maybe do like smaller. More insights into the actual development. Maybe that. I
would like to see more back and forth with the communities too, especially about itemization.
Exactly.
Things.
So maybe there's like this big thread going with like 1,000 replies, and there's like like 20 of those are actually like blue posts, and they're kind of like going back and forth. So yeah, that could be amazing. And
it doesn't even have to be super too. Where like they can say, hey, this is what we're working on. What do you guys think? And then that's it. Exactly. They don't even have to respond to that because they can take in all of our feedback.
They don't even have to show like finished items. They just have to say, okay, we thought about adding this array of new stats, and they're gonna do this and that. And what do you think about having something like this in the game? Whatever. So yeah, this would probably be something.
A couple months later, like, hey, we took your feedback into account, and now we're going this direction. What do you guys think about this? And then see, there's I don't know. There's a lot, but. What are we due for the next blog? Do you remember it all, Fluff? Or
What do we do for that?
when are we due for another?
It said the end of June.
End of June. Okay, so we got a month ish.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Demonic Grizz asked us. He says, with the cancellation of BlizzCon, do you think that Blizzard can capture the hype of BlizzCon through a virtual ticket? I think for most people, probably. I mean, for those of us that go to it, no. Like, after going to one, there's no way. Like, if you've been, you know that it's not the same, man. It's the interactions, meeting people, shaking hands, talking, getting to like really see what somebody's like, hanging out. Like, dude, the Hilton hotel lobby after at nighttime has just got like thousands of people crammed in this little area, and you're all just hanging out, yapping, and it's a blast, man. But sure, I think for 90% of the people, then, yep, probably so. What do you think?
Yeah, for me, I've never been there. Like I wanted to go there, but yeah, it's gonna be next year, I guess. Hopefully.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like I can totally understand that the hype is kind of like a little bit lower, but now that it's completely canceled, that's kind of the issue. So not doing anything is a big mistake, I feel. And they should really try to do something about it. I mean, really fast. So, you know.
It's wild for me because, like, you know, our first experience was 2018, which is like an all-time low for Diablo.
Yeah.
And then fast forward 2019, it's probably maybe one of the most hyped Diablo BlizzCons will ever be.
Yeah.
So it'd be weird to go there for like a normal year.
I think it'd be hype for us until D4 launches.
Sure.
Like, cause if we went this year, 2020, we still would have got D4 news, and we would have been like, "Fuck, this is awesome. We're playing the demo, 8 hours a day, just chugging the line." So, it's fun, man. I had such a good time at BlizzCon last year. So we'll, but the hype for most people is just to catch up. Most people are probably watching a news outlet like IGN or whatever their favorite news outlet is, or their favorite content creator who covers the games they're into. So if you're into Diablo, then sure, it's going to be hyped because they can put out info and we're going to be hyped up about it. Or if you're into WoW, because this is a huge year for WoW with Shadowlands dropping. So I don't know, man. And that's also another thing. Like, Shadowlands is supposed to drop before the end of 2020. Like they said multiple times that they're going to hit that timetable, I think. And that's that's a huge part of BlizzCon. Like, WoW is a huge staple. So if they drop all the juice, like, what are they going to talk? They have this virtual thing in January, February, March. WoW's going to already have dropped its bigness. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, typically in the years where they released the WoW expansion, they're kind of just talking about like the first patch or whatever, kind of like showing a bit there, and that's it. So the WoW is not really a big highlight then anyway. So like every other year there's gonna be the WoW expansion reveal. That's hype, and the years in between are kind of like, well, okay, business as usual. Right. So this would be like this now. So it would be business as usual anyway, but we would have the D4 to with probably like a lot more to show, and that would be the big highlight, I guess.
And Overwatch 2 also, like, I haven't heard a lot about it. I haven't tried to keep track of Overwatch 2 really, but I haven't heard a crazy amount of info on that. I kind of expected it to be out within a year, but
do we actually know when it's coming?
I don't think so, but I don't know. Again, I haven't really actively looked for Overwatch 2 infos.
Yeah, the thing is with Overwatch, they have to polish a lot. I think that's really what's taking like probably 80% of the development time there. I played
it, and it was snooze fest for me. Like, I love Overwatch. I'm an Overwatch fan, just to jump in and play it. But playing the PvE content, after being like, I'm a big Destiny fan and Division fan, and I play a lot of shooters. And then when I played it, I was like, before the demo was even done, I was done with it. I'm like, okay, this is. So I felt really, and I was pretty excited for it. So I really hope that they do some more with Overwatch. I hope the more polished version is a lot more fun. So
I imagine, I played like some of these PvE events I have like for holidays and so on, and they're always like kind of and it's maybe one of them has like a fun, like I really liked one of the Halloween emotes once where I had like a team of 4 and they had to fight like Dr. Frankenstein or whatever.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Junkenstein.
It's okay for like an hour or something,
Yeah,
but you
exactly. You
can't.
do this a few times.
Yeah. So,
But
McNublet says, would it be cool if and when they make the Netflix series for the story to end where Diablo 4 starts? So I guess it would be filling that gap from D3 to D4.
Oh, yeah, I think that would be a pretty good idea, actually.
Yeah.
I would assume that's probably what they were gonna do, unless there's like a retelling of all the story or something.
I think it was bridging the gap from Immortal to D3.
Is it? Did they say that?
I mean, that
I'm just
seems.
saying that's why it was canceled. I don't know. I'm just trolling a little bit. But yeah, that'd be super awesome. So I don't know if any of you guys ever played Final Fantasy 15 when it came out.
Nope.
They did an animated series for Final Fantasy 15 before it came out, and it told like the story leading up to the game. And it was I don't remember how many episodes it was, but it was enough. And I watched that, and it got me super hyped. And also, it gave me a bunch of background information that you didn't get from playing the game. So when the game started, I'm already like, oh, I know who this guy is because he was in the animated show. And so I think it would be really, really cool if they did that, especially for us nerds that really are into it. We're gonna have that extra info.
I think it's actually the other way around. So a show would be good for the non-nerds, those that have no clue, that might not even know Diablo, but if it becomes a great show, it's like worth watching, even if you don't care about the franchise and anything. Then this can potentially get people into the game. And,
yeah, I mean, it can do both. It could be it's good regardless. So I don't think it has to lead up to the D4 story, but it would be cool if it did to me personally.
Like imagine they release a Diablo TV series, a TV show that is like on the level of Game of Thrones or something.
Yeah.
That with like millions of people watching it, and this would be incredible. And kind of like
yeah, real world is Witcher. Did you watch Witcher on Netflix?
I haven't yet, but I was planning to. So yeah, I heard so many good things.
And I watched it, and I hadn't really played any of the Witcher games. And after that, I went and bought Witcher 3 because of the show. Like I was like, oh, this was good. Let's check the game out. Yeah. And I played the game for like maybe 30 hours, and it was cool. It was fun, but 100%. It's campaign fluff. You wouldn't like it. It would.
Yeah. Lore, I honestly still think that like campaign's just kind of a waste of time, but.
Oh man.
Flush just wants a blast. No campaign, no lore.
Just like put it. It's D4BR. Like that's just the name of the title. D4.
I mean, you play through the campaign one time, ever. That you waste so much time on it. But I get it.
I agree. Like I haven't played through the D3 campaign in. I can't even tell you how many years it's been since I played the campaign. I mean, we blazed through it for the speed achievement before, but it's you're not paying attention to it. You're just rocking it as fast as you can. So yeah. Razbull says, does BlizzCon cancellation mean that now we cannot expect any new releases this year, Immortal or Remaster, or do you guys feel that those things are still on the table?
I think both are coming this year. Yeah. So yeah, I don't think this has anything to do with BlizzCon. They can't plan to cancel BlizzCon, but the games are still coming. So especially Immortal.
I don't know, man. I don't think Remaster was probably going to get dropped this year anyways. I think it might have been revealed at BlizzCon, and potentially maybe at BlizzCon they would have been like, yo, you could buy it next week or something. I can't imagine them not saving that juice for BlizzCon hype, though. And Immortal, God, I don't even know what to expect. So on the earnings call, they said that it was going to alpha test or beta test or some kind of test this summer. So maybe a 2020 release, but
that
would have at BlizzCon. I don't know.
Did you see the tweet from Diablo a couple weeks ago now as they were looking for people's favorite mobile creators?
Yeah,
exactly. Oh yeah, they were. Yeah, I did see
that's
that.
Obviously for,
I saw it.
I would assume for
obviously
Immortal.
You're my favorite mobile creator, man.
Thanks, dude.
Big into I was thinking about trying Immortal, maybe not on the phone, but like I don't know how we set it up, but that's probably a way to do it. And that would be maybe fun to actually see the game once at least. And
It was okay. Like Fluff and I played it. Like I'm not. I can't I can't honestly shit all over it because it was a Diablo experience that was monetization is going to make or break that game, in my opinion. If they can figure out a way, and there's no good answer, because if they make it free to play with microtransactions, I don't know how good that'll be. And if they make it a pay upfront for the title, I don't think they would sell any copies, which would probably kill it right there. So I don't know how they win this monetization battle, but the game itself was okay. Fluff and I played two different iterations of it at 2018 and 2019 BlizzCon. It was definitely more polished in the 2019 BlizzCon, and it was okay. We played it on iPads, so it had a big, nice screen, and it was okay.
Yeah, I think that it's hard because I feel like no matter what happens with the game, NA is like very rooting for that game to fail.
Yeah.
Like so much so that I would say that I have probably the most in-depth Diablo Immortal like reviews, because like we played it, you and I played it like a ton, even if we were upset.
Nobody was in line next to it.
And like, so I gave it a 5 out of 10, and I still got called like a shill, and people were like shitting all over it, and like, it's just like,
and a 5 out of 10 is not a great score.
It's not. It's a fail. So
I would give it higher than a 5 out of 10.
Well, that was the first year, yeah.
Yeah, after playing it in a 19, if you compare it in the mobile genre, if you compare it to what it is, you can't compare it to a PC game,
sure,
or even a PlayStation game, or Switch game. It's not that. It's a mobile game. As far as mobile games go, it was probably like the best mobile game I've probably ever played. I think they nailed that. Is it something that I'm going to put 1,000 hours into? No, probably not, but I haven't seen the finished product. But the monetization is like, the reason they're making the game is for money. Obviously, they make all their games for money, but the phone market especially, I don't know how they do that. I don't know how they get that right. And that's something that good luck, Wyatt. Like, I don't know, man. That's gonna be rough. So
yeah.
I'm not even sure if I have any games on my phone. I think the last time I played something on my phone was like on a Nokia. I played Snake or something like that. Just like the extent of my...
Yeah, 83.
Listen, Snake was awesome on the Nokias back in the day.
It was amazing, but this was like 15 years ago. So I don't know.
Let's see what games I have on here. I have Pokemon Go, but it's not downloaded. My phone offloaded it because I haven't opened it in so long. Pokemon Go, I think, is the only game I have on here. And I got nothing. Yeah.
I used to play Hearthstone, but now just like I told you, just like, why am I doing this?
Yeah, I'm the same. Hearthstone is like really appealing, but then I play it and I don't have the cards. I don't
have money to buy
the cards. Yeah. So therefore, I'm gonna I can't be competitive. So I'm out. It's happened. Yeah. The last question. Well, we got 2 more questions. Dan says, "Will you be upset if the new set is played with the 6-piece Natalia?" I don't know how you can play the new set with the 6. Maybe you mean play like 6-4.
6-4, yeah.
I think we talked about that.
Yeah, we talked about this, and it's not gonna happen anyway. So
yeah,
I would be upset, but in the end, yeah, it's not gonna.
You heard it here. It's not gonna happen.
Wudijo says not gonna happen.
Not gonna happen.
Now, when it's rank 1 on the leaderboard, do we message you or?
Yeah.
You can quote me. It's fine. It's not gonna happen.
Okay, there you go, dude. And then now, this is the most important question of the night. There is definitely a right or wrong answer to this. This is something we ask every guest that comes on the show.
Oh, I should have prepared better. Yeah.
Bacon or sausage?
I'd say bacon.
Yes. Still batting 1,000. Fluff loses again. Thank you. Thank you so much. The bacon. Let's see it.
Oh God. What did I do?
We had so much in common, Wudijo. We were clicking. It was working.
You're my man, dude. Listen.
He has a fucking bacon emote. Oh my God.
We're boys now, Wudijo, for life. Thank you for that. Yeah. That's all the questions we have, guys.
I
If
mean,
you want to
okay, if I can say something about this, I probably eat more sausage than bacon, but I probably prefer bacon. So it's kind of like the thing is, I don't really eat much of either. So. But when I eat, it's probably I more regularly eat sausage, I guess. But
yeah. Okay. Does that help, Fluff? Does that make the loss feel?
No.
If you guys want to submit questions to the podcast, like I said, our Discord channels, they're in the YouTube comments below. If you're live, you can type ! Discord or ! PChild. You can get them there. Wudijo, tell the audience where they can find you, where they can catch your, YouTube's, Twitter's, Twitch, all the things, man. Where can we find you at?
I mean, I'm mainly active on Twitch and YouTube. So I have my Twitch channel. I'm currently live every single day and at twitch.tv/wudijo, just my name. YouTube, you can also find me with just wudijo. I have a lot of, especially Diablo content, some Bolson content. I'm going to plan on doing some PoE stuff as well in the near future. And I mean, you can just link that here, I guess.
Awesome.
So it's just my name. You're going to find me on YouTube and Twitch. I don't really use Twitter very much. I have an Discord that is quite active, especially for Diablo. So you can come check that out if you want. There's lots of, discussions, talk, questions, whatever. So you find that also like in my YouTube videos, there's a link. So in the description, you just find it on any video. So
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for coming on. I know it's like 6 a.m. now for you. So thanks for staying up all night, ruining your day. You're gonna sleep all day now, but really appreciate you having you on. And thank you. If you guys want to catch more of me, I'm ThaPchild. You can catch me on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, all the places. Just search for ThaPchild.
Yeah. I'm Lord_Fluffy. Double those underscores on the Twitter. We'll see you guys next week for episode 102.
Peace out.
Peace.
yeah, goodbye. Thank you.